Welcome back to another loaded board breakdown. We are bringing you a new updated version of the Tesseract. After the success of using basalt in the Tarab, we decided to put basalt in the new Basalt Tesseract, replacing the pre-cured fiberglass to make it a little bit more eco-friendly. And without pre-cured fiberglass, the basalt won't be giving you those fiberglass splinters that you've probably encountered at least once before. We are stoked on the basalt because not only does it make the board overall lighter, but it helps aid in the pop by giving it this wonderful snappy sensation to it, as well as giving a very slight increase in flex, which helps aid in freestyle trickery and when you're flexing out in the streets. In case you didn't know, basalt is made from lava rocks. That's right, you'll be riding a real, or at least a portion of a real volcano, maybe Vesuvius. What is making basalt one of our new favorite materials is that it has dampening properties with it. It still retains that wonderful vibration dampening which was originally applied by the cork. But now you get double vibration dampening with the cork and the basalt. They combine to create Captain Planet. Or the Basalt Tesseract, actually. And very blatantly obvious, we also updated the graphic of the Tesseract to give you a sort of David Bowie's Labyrinth kind of feel to it. Not only that, there's 4 different flavors to choose from. Pick which one. Nude, midnight blue, mango, or pink. I like mango. Mango's my favorite one. It's got many of the features of the original Tesseract that you know and love, such as rockered platform, W concave, wheel well flares, upturned kicktails, a symmetrical shape, multiple wheelbase options. The W concave and the wheel well flares both combine to give you a perfect pocket to nestle your foot into whenever you're free riding, and the rocket platform puts you slightly lower to the ground to aid in pushing and give you a nice cradling sensation, like a banana in a hammock. I think we said that one before. 2 wheelbase options allow you to dial in how you want your setup to feel. Do you want it to be a little bit longer and boatier, or do you want it to be shorter and more nimble? So, find the Loaded Basalt Tesseract at your local shop, and if you can't find it there, then visit loadedboards.com and visit the Basalt Tesseract page where you can find more details about the new and improved and multiplied Basalt Tesseract. How's it going, guys? I'm standing here on a bridge with the board that bridges the gap between downhill and freestyle. With its single kicktail, the cancellated Tesseract is great for getting up and down curbs or kick flipping into a hill bomb. In case your eyes can't tell, this board is top mounted. Being top mounted, it gives you a little bit more lean and control, a little bit more responsive of turning, and you can put your feet just about anywhere on the board. The cancellated Tesseract has a directional shape, a short little stubby nose that's good for some shove-its or some little nose manuals, and then a fatter, wider tail than the original Tesseract. So that way you can put your foot directly over the back tail and slide around, make it feel all old schooly and really cool like that. Because who doesn't like to do that? That lady. She hates cool things. Also, ollie. You can ollie. Just like the other Tesseracts, the cancellated Tesseract has rocker to help keep you locked in so you can push your front foot against something, your back foot against something, to help keep you stable when you're going faster. For when you're free riding, your knees kind of like, you know, don't judge me. This board also has wheel well flares. We bit them out ourselves and bent them up. Every single one is different. They're all teeth made. The wheel well flares give you more wheel clearance, as well as give you something to push against and rail against when you're like going through turns and stuff. You put a foot right there and you're like, oh cool, I know where I am on my board. I don't have to look down. Feels very at one with the universe. Yeah. To keep you even more locked in, there is W concave running through the middle of the board, but it tapers just before the bolt, so it's a little bit more comfortable for when you're putting your foot down to tuck. But when you're using it with the wheel well flares, you get this epic pocket right here, so your foot stays locked, so you can go fast and you can slide sideways and not have to care. Cancellated Tesseract has minimal flex. That way it's really stable when you're going downhill. You don't have to worry about your board flexing out and bucking you off when you're going around a turn and, you know, sliding you into a guardrail or something. Sheep, goats, I've seen it happen. It's constructed out of a dual vertically laminated bamboo core sandwiched between triaxial fiberglass with a sexy cork bottom veneer, so that way it helps with abrasion resistance and whatnot. It doesn't just shear off, it kind of flakes off, you know. It looks pretty sweet. Oh, I got it upside down, bam. It's got a sick graphic too, in case you guys haven't noticed that. In fact, I'm gonna take a selfie with it. Looking creepy, cool. If you want to learn more about this board, like the numbers of the wheelbase or whatever, this and that, or the length or the width, check out the specs on the board page. If you have any other questions, please, please, please send your questions to the contact page to Dane Weber and just pester him. Ask him about the littlest things. Ask him how his day's going. He'll appreciate it. We at Loaded Boards are proud to bring you our latest step in longboard dancing innovation with the Tarab. With the Tarab, we wanted to bring a lighter weight, more durable and symmetrical board to the dancing lineup. That is also great for cruising around. We're doing just about anything, maybe even just looking good. the Tarab measures at 47 inches long from tip to tail, with 2 different wheelbase options ranging from 31 1/4 inches to 32 1/4 inches. The Tarab features elliptical concave to give you plenty of leverage for carving and cruising, and centered rocker to provide a lower standing point to make it easier to push, and also give you that wonderful cradling sensation that we all know and love. We're very proud of the Tarab's construction. We've implemented things that worked well in the past and tried a couple new things. The Tarab has a vertically laminated bamboo core that provides liveliness in the board and a wonderful, even flex pattern. But with the Tarab, we decided to step away from using triaxial fiberglass, and instead, we're using basalt. Basalt fabric is a structural composite made out of volcanic rock. We decided to use basalt because, one, it's a little bit more eco-friendly than fiberglass, less toxic. It also has unique dampening properties, so it makes the board even smoother cruising along any sort of pavement quality. Rough, smooth, good, bad, volcanic. It provides a different flex characteristic than fiberglass, slightly less springy, which we felt was necessary for a board like this. And it doesn't hurt that basalt is also lighter and has a higher strength to weight ratio than fiberglass. Seems like nothing but pluses to us. With all the crazy flipping tricks that are going on in the longboard dancing scene today, we felt that it was necessary to put urethane bumpers in the nose and tail. Wow, check out that greenness. Oreo mint all the way. We didn't feel the need to put urethane all the way around to help save on weight, so instead, along the edges of the board, we put UHMW right here. Bam. The UHMW is to help prolong the life of your concave when you're flipping your board upside down and slowly starting to shave down the shoulders. They tend to get really smooth right there. One of our favorite characteristics about the Tarab is cork. Yes, we've used cork in the Tesseract, and yes, we've used it in the Icarus. But with the Tarab, we decided to put it on top because shag carpeting wouldn't work. We noticed that a lot of people tend to take their grip tape off when longboard dancing, so we added the cork to the top to give a little bit of tackiness, so that way you can rely on the grip of your board instead of just hoping you're not gonna slip off. Not to mention the cork is also great because it helps dampen out vibrations from the road. We're always looking for that smoother ride, and we're always trying to provide it for you guys, so we put some cork in here. The Tarab currently comes in 2 flexes, a Flex 1 and a Flex 2. With the Flex 1, we decided to add a bamboo veneer on top to make it more durable and a more solid feel whenever you're landing your big poppin' tricks. In the Flex 2, you're not gonna have this bamboo veneer on top, which is gonna make it a little bit lighter, but it's gonna make it flexier. And with the Tarab, we felt the need to put grab rails, so that way you can make sure you're holding onto your board when you're doing your hand flips, and we even put CNC wheel well cutouts to help ensure that your wheels will clear without the chance of getting wheel bites. These things also help make the board lighter. It's the little details, the little detail. The graphic of the Tarab is done by the one and only Will Scobie. You can find his link down below in the description. We know that we have a bunch of weird sounding names for our boards, but the Tarab is a very special, ecstatic feeling that you have when you're listening to your favorite music, which seems to work out perfectly considering that this is a dancing board.
There's something about bombing down a hill that always seems to make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.